tense in here. How are you? Hey, this water. Once said that we were having too much water while communities don't have water. Can you remove it? The media mustn't say we give each other too much water here. I haven't seen some faces. How are you?
Oh.
And Tabiso Goba from EWM. How are you? I'm all right. No, she only takes certain stories. Levels in China. Levels.
Wow.
Mariska, you what?
I'm glad to be here.
No, but I saw you 2 weeks ago, a week ago. You are a local, so we appreciate the international travelers.
Compliments.
Morning.
I thought it was a tongue-in-cheek comment.
I don't know why it expired.
No, but you see how much water there is.
Oh yeah, so I'm still valid.
Literally. Yep.
So I must make sure they're good. We're good? Cool. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you this morning to this long-awaited press conference. This matter has been oncoming since 2021, when there were protracted strikes happening in the city and wage disagreements. That we are happy is now coming to an end. But I don't want to give all the way the juice. With that said, I'm going to hand over to the Executive Mayor, who will make formal remarks, followed then by the Deputy Executive Mayor and the MMC of Finance, and then our Organised Labour partners who are here with us today. Over to you, Executive Mayor.
Sorry, before you continue, can you shift the mics on the other one on the other side, that one on the other side, because the
And this one?
that one has for you.
Okay.
Are we good? Cool. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Sam, and good morning to the Deputy Executive Mayor, members of the Mayoral Committee, City Manager, Chairperson of MPEC, and councillors that have joined, and most importantly to the members of the media who have responded to our call when we say we have something important to announce to the residents of Tshwane. Thank you so much for being here. But a warm greeting to the residents of Tshwane who are following this press conference, and to members of the media. As I've said, thank you so much for being here. This is one of the milestones of this administration, that making sure that we deal with the inherited mess that we got as this administration. But I'd also like to acknowledge the people that have guided this process so far: the Deputy Executive Mayor, who's also the MMC for Finance, the MMC for Corporate and Shared Services, and MMC Aaron Malulega, who we delegated to represent us as the MECO during the negotiations, as well as the accounting officer and his team, who made sure that the conversation with the union was constructive. But I also want to extend a welcome to the rest of my colleagues in the MECO, who's made sure that their decisions and their leadership has led us to this point. The support of our multi-party coalition has been instrumental in getting us here. So thank you so much, colleagues, for your collective leadership and steady support throughout this process. We are also joined by the representatives of Organised Labour. This is a very special moment for us as the administration, that we are not the only voice of leadership that the residents of Tshwane and the officials of the city hear, that we are here because their engagement has been central to today's outcome. I would like to introduce the SAMU Tshwane Regional Chairperson, Mr. Lihlohonolo Mapatswe, here. SAMU Tshwane Regional Secretary, Mr. Donald Monakisi, then the Imadu Tshwane Regional Chairperson, Ms. Melita Boy, and Imadu Tshwane Regional Manager, Ms. Lynette Benz Kutsie. Thank you so much, colleagues, for being here. Your presence reflects a shared commitment to dialogue and responsible resolution. I also acknowledge the city officials and staff members who have continued to serve residents with dedication during a difficult and protracted period. Today reflects collaboration, maturity, and shared responsibility. Let us now turn to the matter before us, ladies and gentlemen, the resolution of the 3.5% wage dispute dating back to 2021. To understand this resolution, we must briefly revisit the events that shaped it. In September 2021, SALGA, SAMU, and IMATU entered into a 3-year salary agreement. At the time, the city was under severe financial pressure. The previous administration applied for exemption from implementing the 3.5% increase for 2021 and the 5.4% increase for 2023. Those exemption applications were not granted at arbitration. The matter proceeded to the Labour Court. The court granted exemption for 2023, but referred the 2021 increase back to the South African Local Bargaining Council. When the 2021 application was reheard, the arbitrator issued a final ruling on 31 October 2025. That ruling created a binding legal obligation to implement the 3.5% increase backdated to 1 July 2021. If implemented immediately as a lump sum, the total back pay exposure was approximately 1.5 billion rands. As immediate payment of that scale would have placed severe pressure on the city's finances. It would have affected commitments to ESCOM and other creditors, and it would have placed our fully funded budget from 1 July 2026 at risk. This administration inherited both the legal obligation and the financial consequences. We had a choice. We could continue litigation and prolong uncertainty, or we would accept the ruling in good faith and work with organized labor to structure a responsible solution. We chose solution and a resolution as this collective. We accepted that salary back pay is a legal obligation. It cannot be deferred indefinitely. Delays would only increase the burden and deepen instability. At the same time, we rejected the idea that honoring workers must come at the cost of weakening the institution. With the legal position settled, the responsibility rested with us. The issue was no longer whether the increase must be implemented. It was how to implement it fairly and sustainable. An immediate lump sum payment would have amounted to over 1.5 billion. That level of outflow would have placed severe strain on the city's financial position. That required engagement rather than extended litigation. It required partnership and disciplined negotiation. Before I take you through the proposed agreement, ladies and gentlemen, I want to clarify that the proposal I'm about to outline has been approved by Mayoral Committee following structured consultation and agreement with organized labor. This proposed agreement will be submitted to Council for formal ratification in accordance with due process, following which it will be submitted for final approval by the Bargaining Council. Through structured and constructive discussions with IMATU and SAMU, we work to shape a responsible solution. The result is a full and final settlement that reduces the back pay liability from over 1.5 billion to under 1.1 billion by calculating it on basic salary only. This represents a reduction of approximately 460 million compared to the original exposure. The agreement covers 21,089 employees. Salaries will increase by 3.5% with effect from 1 March 2026. The increase will apply to both the basic salary and benefits. Back pay will be paid over 3 years and calculated from 1 July 2021 on basic salary only. Payment will be staggered, beginning with the lowest task levels. In 2026, task levels 1 to 6, which covers 8,139 employees, will be paid in June, August, and October. In 2027, task levels 7 to 9, covering 8,224 employees, will be paid in February, May, and December. In 2028, task levels 11 to 18, covering 4,601 employees, will be paid in April, August, and November. In 2029, which is the last year, task levels 19 to 22, covering 125 employees, will be paid in February. The deliberate prioritization of lower income employees is central to this agreement. Those who earn the least will receive their back pay first. Importantly, those employees who leave the city of Tshwane, either through retirement or resignation, will be paid their outstanding back pay on exit. This settlement honors workers while safeguarding service delivery and long-term fiscal health. But there is the best person to present how the issue of affordability will be addressed. I would like to hand over to the Deputy Executive Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Executive Mayor, for representing us well. This decision or resolution is motivated by the fact that we will consider it to the fact that our employees, which is our asset, have been subjected to the fact that their salary have been eroded, the power, purchasing power, for over 4 years. And then we are considerate to the fact that we are not going to compromise service delivery. This poses a natural question of affordability. The settlement is supported by the 2025-26 adjustment budget currently before council. To be clear, the budget remains fully funded, and perhaps it's important that I underscore this, Executive Mayor. The budget remains fully funded with an operating surplus of 1.2 billion rands. This confirms that the settlement have been absorbed without destabilizing the city financial framework. To accommodate phase one of this inherited obligation, departments identified targeted reductions in non-strategic and discretionary expenditure. At the same time, allocation to key service delivery areas have been increased. Energy and electricity have received an additional 109 million rands to strengthen the 11 kV cable network, upgrade substations, replace obsolete equipment, and support distribution stability. Water and sanitation have received an additional 162 million rands to replace worn-out pipes, rehabilitate sewer networks, upgrade pump stations, and strengthen water conservation measures. These are investments in reliability and resilience. No front services have been defunded. This one deserves to be underscored. No frontline services have been defunded. No core infrastructure program have been withdrawn. This settlement has been structured within a budgeted, which is funded, that continues to prioritize electricity, stability, water security, and service delivery. We are honoring our obligation to our workers while strengthening the service delivery residents, and the balance we were determined to achieve. Lastly, we are here with Labour to demonstrate that we are honoring our words. We said we are not going to contest, and this is what we are doing. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much, Deputy Executive Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude, let me end with clarity. Residents deserve facts, not fear. They deserve transparency about decisions that affect workers and service delivery in our city. This administration has taken a responsible and balanced approach to resolving this matter. We faced a complex legal and financial challenge. We addressed it directly. We have honored our legal obligations to workers while protecting the financial stability of the city. The settlement protects employees' rights. It preserves service delivery. It safeguards a fully funded budget. This is disciplined governance in action. This agreement closes a long chapter of uncertainty. It demonstrates that even after strain and disagreement, constructive engagement can prevail. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Mayoral Committee and the entire Council, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the leadership of SAMO and IMATU for their constructive engagement throughout this process and for working with us in a spirit of partnership, mindful of the city's financial constraints. I can never thank this leadership enough, ladies and gentlemen. This was one of the chapters that was long overdue to be closed, and without their leadership, we would not be here today. So we move as a collective leadership of the city. We move with stability, with partnership, and with purpose. But ladies and gentlemen, it's important that we hand over to the leadership of Imatu and Samu to say their part. But colleagues, thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you so much.
Let's move backstage.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor and Deputy Executive Mayor, for those notes of welcome and the presentation that has been made. Special greetings to the Executive Mayor, to the Deputy Executive Mayor, members of the MMC, the City Manager, our brothers and sisters in labor, to the City of Tshwane employees to whom we are here or gathered here because of, to the media present, and the multiple of listeners who are watching us live online. It has indeed been a great and a very long road to get all parties involved here today. We as organized labor had numerous meetings with the city manager to protect the interest of our members for their rightful 2021-2022 3.5% salary increase. Some of you might not remember this, but we have had engagements through the CCMA intervention process in order to get parties to agree on the payment of the 3.5% increase. This process was very frustrating and did not yield the results that we were looking for. This, however, did not in any way deter us from returning to the boardroom where we had constructive meetings between organized labor and the city manager, CFO and COO included. It is indeed a milestone today to hear from the executive mayor, confirmed by the mayoral committee, that the 3.5% increase across the board on salary and benefits will be implemented in March of 2026. The award we secured last year, October 2025, ordered the city to adjust the salary and benefits of all employees with 3.5% and pay the back pay payment from July of 2021. As far as the adjustment is concerned, we as Imatu feel this is huge victory, and we also note that the city is doing this at the March 2026 payment compared to waiting for April 2026. As for the back payment, we have been circumspect in how this issue should be handled. The initial offers from the city to only pay 50% of such was outright refused by organized labor and its members. It is not a secret that our members have suffered financial hardship since 2021, as it was alluded by the executive mayor and the deputy executive mayor, due to the rising cost of living, etc. All other local government employees in the country have received their increase in terms of the previous salary and wage collective agreement, except for the employees in the city of Tshwane. Even whilst being frustrated, the employees of the city came through and continued with the service delivery. We want to thank you and applaud you today for continuing this and taking pride in your work and the service you deliver to our communities. The agreement we reached is a delicate balancing act between the interest and the right of the employees, weighed against the continued financial viability of the city. The union considered the magnitude of issues which could unfold should the parties not agree on the 3.5% back pay. We do not want to return to court. This will place the employees in a situation of waiting another 3 years for an outcome. Furthermore, the union always supports job security, and the sustained current salary and wage collective agreement and bonuses of employees were taken into account to protect our members' interests. We have secured that all employees currently in the city and who were in employment in 2021 will receive their back payment. We also welcome the city manager's indication that should finances of the city improve, the payment dates for the back pay may be brought forward, meaning that the 3-year term payment will be reduced. Commitment was made that the parties will meet quarterly to keep track of the financial status of the city. We know not all our members are happy with this agreement, as the back pay excludes back pay on benefits and the once-off payment secured in 2021. We do believe that our mandate process showed us where we need to proceed to, and we did exactly that. We have acted in the best interest of our members collectively, and we are extremely glad that this issue will be resolved and finalized. We thank you for this opportunity to address the media and our members. My name is Melita Baloyi, and I thank you for your audience.
Musical chairs. It's called musical chairs.
Clearly, I'm the only one without a script here. No, thank you very much, members of the media. Greetings to the leadership of the city, led by the executive mayor, mayoral committee, the city manager, the leadership of the Progressive Union, SAMU, and the leadership of IMATU. But most importantly, we pass our revolutionary greetings to the general membership of SAMU following this particular press briefing. Well, we are here as SAMU to present the mandate that we have been given by the general membership. Firstly, it is important that we indicate that we are a mandate-given organization. We are not here to present the views or proposals that are coming from the leadership, but it was a process that we embarked on as leadership. We consulted with all our members across all 7 regions, from Region 1 to Region 7. Well, we embarked on that particular process after the city made a proposal in terms of the implementation process. If members of SAMU at home can recall that there was a first proposal that was made by the city that speaks to the 50% of the payment. Well, we convened our regional substeward council, which is a platform that is composed of all substewards of the union in the city. They rejected the 50% proposal that was made by the city. Fast forward, the city further made a proposal, which we are here to present today. Now, our members has made an indication that firstly they want to appreciate the commitment that has been demonstrated by this current administration. Because our members have made an appreciation that we are here sitting in this room trying to fix the mess that has been created by Celia Spring. We are here because we had an administration that did not have the interest of workers at heart. We had an administration that presided over the collapse of the finances of this particular city. We had an administration presided by Brink that only prioritized affluent areas and forgot about townships. So this is a man that subjected us to this particular press briefing. He did not have the interest of this particular city at heart. Our members went through this particular proposal. They said, as much as there's a commitment coming from the city, we are not going to, in totality, agree to what the city is saying. However, we are empowering you as the leadership to go and respond to this particular proposal to say, 1, we agree to the infusion of the 3.5% from the 1st of March. So our members are clear. that you are agreeing to the 3.5% that must be implemented now in March. However, our members are equally saying, as much as you are no longer talking about 50% now, which is the most exciting part of this, we are now talking about 100%. This administration is prepared to pay our members 100% of what is owed to them from 2021. But they are not agreeing to the time frame proposed by the city. Our members are saying, we are in support of Ratifying on basis that the reasons were given by the city during the meetings that we had, that we do not have 2 billion sitting there. We still need to collect this money so that we are able to honor the 3.5% with big pay. So we are here to confirm that as a labor union, a revolutionary union, we are in support of Ratifying because we are of the view that that's where our 1.5 billion is. That's where we are even prepared to join the leadership of the city in switching off. We saw one department there, Raya, saying, why are you switching off for correctional services? Our people there in squatters are sitting without electricity, yet there's a department that is defending correctional services. What about Pesta must have electricity when our people don't have electricity? The city must switch off. If they switch off, members are saying that money that is collected, it must be thrown in the bucket so that we trim down the time frame in terms of the big pay. They are not agreeing to 2029. Our members are not agreeing to that. So when we enter, because we are still going to sign and ratify this thing at the bargaining council. When we go to the bargaining council, we are going to say we agree, but there must be this particular provision. That as and when you collect, you are then going to be able to pay so that we can close down the time frame. So our members are clear that they are in support of this particular administration, and they are also happy that there's a commitment. But also we want to guarantee our members that they must be comfortable that, one, in terms of the agreement, there was an issue of once-off. We were clarified that the once-off, your 3,000 and 4,000, they are part and parcel of the package of the 1.5 billion. I think 1.5 billion executive deputy mayor, it was when the outcome came out. Now it is no longer 1.5 billion. So the longer we delay in resolving this particular matter, the more the bill increases. So the 3,000 and 4,000 is in a package. It is also calculated in the 1.5 billion. But also we want to assure our members that those that are going on pension, those that are on retirement, and those that have already resigned, we are not going to agree if they are also not going to be included in this particular agreement that we'll sign. But lastly, there's 2 billion that the city said the government department owes them. They must go fetch that money so that we close this particular issue. That 2 billion, they must be paid. No one must think that is exempted from complying. If we can close, what is this thing, this brothel? Ipintombi, you must also close government departments that are not paying. But also we want to encourage our members, because there was a remark that was made in our meeting that even our members, by the way, they must also comply. We, as a responsible labor organization, we must also encourage our members. We say, our 1.5 billion is sitting with you, Mapato, who's not paying water. It's sitting with you, Mapato, who's not paying electricity. So we are a responsible organization. But also, our members must stop being misled by what we call Facebook or social media revolutionaries. Because they go on social media and say, we must reject this thing. No, the city must comply within 6 months. We want to tell our members that this was the best possible option we can take. Our members must have confidence in us, because we have started this revolution with them, and we do not have interest of selling out. This is the best possible solution, because if we do not enter into this agreement, they must remember that this one who enjoys, who thinks that he enjoys white privilege, this one of Brink, we know that he's still contesting this thing even today. It tells you that he doesn't have the interest of workers at heart, workers who are at the center of service delivery. It is our members who ensure that there's water flowing, there's our members who ensure that there's electricity. So Brink must never come here and mislead our workers. Our workers must never be misled by people who are saying what, rejecting this thing. So majority of our members are saying Tata Lento Aina Bungozi. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, we're fine.
Right, colleagues, we have come to your favorite part. The part that you like the most. You know how I work. You will announce yourself. I'll take a round of 3 questions at a time, and as many rounds as you want. I'll give you time today. Announce yourself, your name, the publication or media house you represent, and to whom you're directing the question. It's very important to announce to whom you're directing the question. With that said, I'll take the first round. Tabiso, I knew you would be there. Antoinette, Mariska, the usual suspects. We'll take those 3 first, and we'll go for another round. Tabiso?
Service ago from my business. I just want to understand. I understand that this 3.5 will be staggered over a number of years, but it's from 2021. Are there any other increases or any new wage agreements that are also going to be happening alongside this 3.5? I don't know if I'm wording it correctly.
Yeah.
And my second question is around, I think it's directed to the city manager and the unions. It's around those dismissed workers who were dismissed during that protest, those sustained strikes during that time. Is there any chance that they are going to be having their jobs back, or that matter is settled, they're going to be dismissed, and that's it? Thank you.
Antoinette?
Good morning, Antoinette Slavic. I'm a freelance journalist writing for MoneyWeb, among others. I just want to clarify the 3,000 and 4,000 that you referred to. And then I want to ask, if the 3.5% was implemented when it was due, it would have increased the base of the increase for the next year. So do you recalculate all those amounts, or are you just taking the basic salaries as they are at the moment? And then my last question is, I believe there's another dispute related to wages between the city and the unions regarding the VIP protectors. Can the mayor perhaps update us on the city's position in that regard? And I would also like to hear from the unions what their position is.
Thanks, Antoinette. Mariska?
Hi, I'm Mariska from The Citizen. Thank you to my colleague that mentioned the workers that were fired in the marches and protests. I also wanted to know, will they be included in this package? And then also going back to the marches, I would like to know from the EFF. I know they were in the forefront of fighting for the workers. They've led many of the marches. And do they consider this a victory for the workers? Or is this simply a arm wrestling? And then lastly, to the city, maybe the city manager, or my favorite, Modise can answer this because it's about the money. Did the city not waste money in first delaying, the inevitable, So just maybe touch on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I will leave everyone to respond. I'll come to the end. City manager, yeah.
Okay, I can't. No. Thank you very much. Perhaps, Tabiso, the increase is obligatory. It's an annual and mandated assignment for each and every department or institution for that fact. So we are not talking about that now. We're dealing about the 3.5 and the historical debt from 2021. So meaning from next year, the increase will come. It's not like once off. There's no more increases. Remember, it's motivated by CPIX and other things. So, Antoinette, on the yes, and let me perhaps borrow the words of Mariska. This is, in terms of legal terms, we have spared the cost unnecessarily, honestly speaking. We were supposed to pay something like 500 million rents. Now we're paying 1.5 and it's 1.2 like Samu has said. And if we delay more, it will be around 2 billion rents. So we are circumventing the interest because this is an order now. It's not negotiable anymore. That's why we agreed. And we don't want to speak about the previous regime, which demonstrated disrespect for the employees. It's an insult, actually, for postponing the increase. It's an insult. So we are doing that. The VIP, we had a conversation with Labour, and we are still trying to finalize this. But the initial step, we have taken it, and we agreed. We have accommodated their needs, and we agreed. The outstanding ones will be, there's different categories in the VIP, the static and the likes, but we are going to accommodate everybody. So there's no problem there. Yes, it is a waste. It's a waste, and financially, it hurts the purse of the city. Instead of paying 500 million, we are paying 1.8. It's unnecessary. The 1.2 would go to servicing our communities, buying equipment to build in-house capacity, fix a pipe that needs our money, build a reservoir, and even a substation. It's hitting. Thank you very much.
Oh, there's no chair.
Oh.
You are spoiled already.
No, thank you very much. I'll only deal with 2 questions. Then the regional secretary will deal with other 2 questions that he's been dealing with them at the level of the LLF, or issues of 30,000 VIP, the regional secretary, and the issue of the 3,000, the regional secretary, 3,000, 4,000. But what informs our program of action in this term of office? When we came into the office, there were 3 fundamental issues that were raised. One was the issue of the reinstatement of the dismissed, issue of the 5.4% salary increase, and the 3.5%. Now, the 3.5%, now we are closing it. On the issue of the dismissed, there are ongoing discussions that we have entered into with the current administration, but also we must also indicate that we have also reached out to the provincial government through the office of the MEC of Kokta, MEC Jacob Mamabulo. We are having those particular discussions with him. However, I want to assure the dismissed, the families and the general members that with this administration, there's movement, unlike that other administration where he did not even want to meet with us at all. Brink did not even want to meet us at all. So we are still having those particular engagements. Yes, the discussions are not happening at the pace that we want, because as a union, we want to see these members back at work as in yesterday. And not that way. You see, if we're celebrating the 3.5%, we're going to be having champagnes. So we're not celebrating it because we still have 41 families that are subjected to poverty by Brink. So with this administration, yes, discussions are happening very slow, but we are happy that we had the MMC of Environmental in one of the clips at the council meeting stressing this particular issue. So their issue is being processed. We are discussing it, but the plea that we can make is that can we frustrate this particular matter, because honestly, our people are sitting at home for doing nothing. By the way, they were dismissed in a manner that was not even in line with some Labor Relations Act. They were not even subjected, by the way, to a disciplinary hearing. Their side of the story was never even heard in a disciplinary hearing. So you dismiss a person without hearing his side of the story. But we want to assure you that with this administration, we are having those particular discussions. Maybe by the time we leave here, there can be a directive to the city manager that they must come back. But are there other increases? Are there other increases? We are expecting a 5.4% salary increase. That matter is not dead. A labor court outcome said they are remitting 3.5%, meaning they subjected 3.5% to bargaining council. Then we want to put it clear, we lost the 5.4, but we promised this city and guaranteed them that we are going to appeal it up until the Constitutional Court. So we are just waiting for a date. We'll go and contest. Maybe they can even withdraw it. Maybe they must just withdraw it so that we avoid this thing of fighting amongst each other. They must just withdraw it and just implement the 5.4% salary increase. City manager, maybe your political leadership will also direct you. But there is another increase that is expected, which is 5.4%. We're not going to leave that issue. Workers worked for that money. They did not volunteer. They traded their labor power for that particular money. And that particular money must be paid, and we're going to fight that for that particular implementation of 5.4% salary increase. Thank you.
Do you want to continue before? Okay. They need a point of before. That's what you always do in our meetings.
Good day, everyone. I will deal with the two questions, one being the issue of the 3,000 and the 4,000, and the issue of the VIP protectors. The 3,000 and the 4,000 arises from the collective agreement that was signed in 2021. So you'll remember in the collective agreement there is a clause that says if you are earning 12,000 plus, you qualify for 3,000, 12,500 below, you qualify for 3,000. That is the 3,000 and the 4,000 that the chair was speaking about. It arises from the. It is incorporated in the amount that the 1 billion plus. Now the issue of the VIP protectors, of course, it is the matter for LLF. So we were busy bargaining with it at the LLF level, whereby as some we made some input in relation to say this collective agreement must cover a different section of that unit, others being static, transit and so on. So our input was that that collective agreement must be extended to that particular group of members of that particular unit. And to even at a certain stage we said we will refer the matter to a bargaining council if we are not agreeing with the employer the way they want to implement it. So those are the two issues that I think one should clarify. But also maybe the last one, there was a question whether there are other increases. Of course there are other increases. We'll also stress that one. We've got a collective agreement that was signed in 2024 that will from 2024 to 2029. So that is separate from what we are discussing. We are expecting another increase in the 1st of July, apart from the 3.5. I hope the city manager has got money.
Is there going to be a situation where those increases, the backdated increases, and those new increases run concurrently?
So from where we are, as some 1st of March, 3.5 must come in. 1st of July, the city manager, something must come in. So that is what as some were expecting. So that is the will run until 2021 as per the agreement that was signed last year, 2024. Thank you very much.
Yeah, something must come in. Something must come.
To Tabiso, Mariska and Antoinette, that's where we received the questions, and a very good morning yet again. Some of the questions have been responded to. I believe you heard about the 3,000 and the 4,000, how that came about. It is in that. I'm not going to touch on that one. Of interest that I want to respond to is the VIP. The VIP, we have got forums that we as the organized labor and the employer, we are actually supposed to be engaged in to resolve such. It has been brought to the LLF, which stands for the Local Labor Forum. In that LLF, the consultation, we believe as IMATU that it was never sufficient. And the employer decided to implement the 35, is it 30,000 or 35, payment of the VIP once off. And we have now deadlocked in that fashion. What does that mean when we deadlock? It means now whoever is not in agreement with the other party, they can then refer it to arbitration, which is now going to sit. There's an arbitration on that matter on the 23rd of February, this coming Monday. It will be deliberated further in that fashion. The dismissal they've touched on, and the 2024-2029 is a new 5-year term, which was a historic achievement from the current administration, and not only in the region, but nationally, with IMATU and the other union. We have, why do I say it's an historic achievement? We usually have got the 3 years agreements in terms of our salary and wage collective agreements. But for this one, and I believe that we set the mark, we set the tone as Tshwane region. We are always everywhere because we went to this exemption period, which was never seen. And we are the only ones, as I've mentioned in my earlier speech, that other municipalities have received their increases. But because of this, and they decided, let's also now open this from 3 years to 5 years. And we also put some clause in there to say, how long should then the employer decide on putting in an application for an exemption? And yes, again, we applaud and we are very much grateful for the current administration. They said we are never going to request for an exemption on any of those agreed years. Previously, like we've seen, in the administration of Mr. Brink, I would say, and I do agree with the latter speaker from the other union, my sister union, to say we were not happy. And we are still not happy because now we are bearing the pain of the previous labor that we should have just concluded by then. I think I've covered what I wanted to say. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Union.
Brother.
Oh, City Match.
Oh.
Oh.
Take
Must wear this jacket. I will never take this one.
With a red cap.
No, thank you very much. I think we all know that we were part of the parties that were on the forefront of fighting for the workers. Some of our members were even arrested during the protests when we were on the opposition seat. And we are very happy with these developments, and we think that we are one of the administration that have managed to make sure that there's stability. I mean, in that Department of Environment, there used to be strikes of waste every now and then. You don't see that today, there's stability. Even here in the city, I don't think some will go to the streets anytime soon. We are working together because by the time they will want to go to the street, they must be with us to Reatima to collect that money. We think that this is a good decisions that we have taken, an agreement, but any institution that doesn't take care of its workers won't achieve anything. And we think that the city of Tshwane, with this collective led by the executive mayor and members of the mayoral committee, we have successfully managed to make sure that we take care of the workers. The 41 workers, I don't want to, I know that the union have said something, but our position as one of the parties that are part of the coalition government is that they must come back, but according to the cases of those individuals must be presented with evidence, and those who don't have anything that they have done wrong, they must be brought back to work, because that administration of Brink was targeting black workers, and that must be known, and we are not going to tolerate that. But we are in the same page as this collective. The issue might be, how do you want us to do it? But of course, if we find a worker who was burning the infrastructure of the city, we can't bring that person back because that person is a criminal, is a hooligan. So, but if there are no evidence of someone who's suspended and we don't see any evidence, by today, those people were supposed to be back at work. We are just respecting the processes from the HR and corporate shed and from the deputy mayor, who is the one who's leading that mediation of these 41 workers. But they must be rest assured that who are going to fight until they are back at work. And thank you for this collective. I think the second phase, if everything goes well, it must be in sourcing of phase 2 of security guards. Thanks.
I've got nothing to say. Yeah.
You're fine.
No, I'm fine.
So it was important, ladies and gentlemen, that we hear from other leaders of Tshwane, other than my lazy voice. I do want to emphasize a few things, colleagues. When we started as this administration, and one of the stakeholders we met was the organized labor, and we made commitments. One of the commitments at that time, as we're approaching the court date, we asked if we can't get out of the court process and rather go back to mediation. That was in December 2024. So from our side, we wanted to settle this matter as part of those priorities with ESCOM debt and the issues of the funded budget and the issues of audit outcomes. So it was part there with the priorities. And the reasons why we did that is because we knew what it will take to rebuild this city, and that we're not going to be able to rebuild this city with a disgruntled workforce, a workforce that doesn't believe in its leadership. And we promise we'll lead you. Leading people means that you must care for them and love them. And for us, that was the commitment that we've made. So the issue of 3.5%, we've never intended to contest it from the beginning. When we couldn't find each other in the boardroom, obviously the different players reserved their rights. We went to court. Even before we went to court, we said, whatever the outcome, we're not going to contest it. And we kept true to that word. And so it's very comforting to get to this level. So in terms of the other increases, I can confirm, because I think we must say it very clearly and explicitly, that the bargaining agreement that we have from 2024 to 2029 is going to be implemented without fail. That means the increases from 1st of July, they will be paid as we have signed on the collective agreement. That the employees of the city will never have a staggered approach to paying 13th check again, not when we're in charge. For as long as we are the leaders here, we're not going to have employees of the city that goes to Machonisa just to buy Christmas clothes, because they have leadership. And so that is the commitment that we have made also to organize labor and to the general workforce of the city of Tshwane. But I do want to emphasize this. We do all of this thing to honor our workers that are doing the best under very difficult circumstances. For any employee that would be employed by a city with an average deficit of over 4 billion rand per annum, you can just imagine the sacrifices these employees had to endure. There was a time, it was fashionable in this city that a general worker must cough up money out of their pockets to go buy something they don't have to do their work. And so the commitment we made to organize labor when we met them was things have to change. While we are making these promises to residents, it means that we must take care of the house first so that the officials can take care of service delivery. We have been announcing progress on the work that we do. It's because of the workforce of this city. It's not us who do the work. And so for us, it was important that we fulfill that commitment. That's the part I just wanted to add on. Thank you.
Cool.
It takes a while.
Anyone else? Going once? I'll take those two. Go.
Good morning, colleagues. City Manager, well, my name is Patricia Pasaki from the SABC. To the City Manager, in 2023, when the standoff intensified between the city and the workers, and obviously we saw how that impacted the work of the day and communities that suffered during that standoff. You were part of the leadership then under the administration of Sylvia Drunk, and one would assume that that was the position that you supported. Now it seems like things have turned around. I really want to hear your views on this current
agreement following what we saw in 2023 and the mess that that created. Where are you standing now, and are you in full support of the agreement and moving forward? I also want clarity on the issue around the councillors. Last year, obviously, they voted in favor of, I think it was about, what, 5% increase. What will happen to the Tshwane councillors? Are they going to get that money, or how does it work? So we get clarity on that. And I have to also ask, we are in a very sensitive year. It's elections. Is the Tshwane leadership perhaps playing a very strategic chess game here? Because elections need to take place, and you cannot afford a workforce that's fighting and that is angry when you are looking for votes. We understand, obviously, the legal part, but there's the political part that we also need to be considerate of. Is this more about the workers, or are you also positioning yourself correctly to get the votes that you are looking for? And then just the last one, do we have any idea how many workers who are no longer working for Tshwane, who may have passed on or so forth, will be qualifying for the backdated amount? Is that amount already clear, the numbers? That's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, not a new question. The dismissed workers, the city manager didn't answer, so I'll just ask it again about the dismissed workers. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. The issue around the dismissed workers it was addressed by at least two of the speakers here, so I have nothing further to add to that. Then, in terms of the circumstances that gave rise to the exemption, there are no circumstances that certainly I will allow to have my administration, or the way that I administer the organization, be politicized. That is not the job of an accounting officer. Accounting officer does not play politics, whether you agree with this person or whether I agree with that person. I am employed by the council of the city of Tshwane. And if the council adopts a budget, then I follow and I implement that budget. That is my job. So the council of this council, for example, adopted a funded budget. And that funded budget included all of these matters that we have conversed about today. It was my job as an administrator to present, for example, an adjustment budget that was funded, because that instruction came from the political executive, that this is what we want to do, but we want to have a funded budget. And that, in fact, was then approved yesterday. So there's nothing political about that, and I want to be very clear about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know it's difficult for CM to represent himself, but the mayoral committee have mandated me to negotiate with the unions about the 43 dismissed workers. And we have made strides, and actually we packed it now because we wanted to focus on the 3.5 and finalize. But it's at the tail end, actually. We'll be finalizing the matter. And like MMC Ramaburi has said, we categorized those dismissed workers. There's an old lady, which I know from Mamelodi, whom was not involved in the strike, but is part of the dismissed. So it's painful exercise. But the CM is not displaying arrogance of this brink. He's amenable to reality and is listening. The 5% of the councillors is regulated, highly regulated. It's endorsed by the MEC of COCTA, ratified by the minister. So it's not a thing that we do as we pleases. So if council votes, it means it must go through those processes. And it's not like stealing from the, the coffers of the city. Remember, councillors are human beings as well, and they are conducting their responsibilities. The HR, we have quantified, it's a pity I don't have the numbers now, and what we did, we have quantified and juxtaposed that with the money that is due to them. I'm referring to those dismissed, resigns, and the likes. And our workforce is aging. We are alive to that reality. That is why we are prioritizing critical vacancies. And even Tuesday, there was a big fight with HR from our side that they must make sure that adverts are out and the process is done. In December, we said we cannot make an excuse that we can't interview in December. If somebody is looking for a job, you can even interview on the 1st of January. So that's the process we are embarking on. So let's not say CM is hostile and was succumbing to that pressure. No. During the strike, we ourselves, even in opposition branches, we interacted with the city manager and we interacted with the employees. Those 89 which were brought back, it was as a result of our work and the city manager. That arrogant boy, we undermined him because he didn't understand the gravity of the problem. I know for a fact that if we go for a day with strike here, we'll lose 100 million rands, and he doesn't have an appreciation of that. And he can't even assist in that regard. Thank you very much.
Just the last part, colleagues, there was a question about this being an election year. You forgot.
Yeah,
Politicians forget about an election year. Way. I think, colleagues, as I said, from us, firstly, as this leadership, we made a promise to organize labor in December 2024. And whether we're good leadership or not is measured by how much we take our promises seriously, whether we fulfill them or not. This was a very difficult chapter if you're looking at the finances of the city. But it was a promise that we've made that there is a relationship we want to build with our workforce. Hence, you see us working with them in the operations and everywhere else, because we didn't want them to see us as others, us and them. And so getting to today is about us as this leadership and the different parties that are represented in this coalition, fulfilling a promise that we've made. Now, this being an election year, us being in a coalition, in a period where more municipalities will have coalitions. As these parties that are already in a coalition, we will be judged by the way we deliver services to the people. We are unfortunate that we can't even campaign openly like the opposition. We must campaign through our work. And we realized long time ago that if we don't take the workers along, that campaign doesn't even start because they won't work because the morale is low. And so we've worked very hard to bring up the morale of the employees and just make sure that the issues that AG also raised, the issue of the organizational culture. And through the LLF process, we have approved tons of policies just to improve the environment in which the workers are working. We have resuscitated committees that were long dead. So for instance, for PPE, where we say it sounds minor to people, but it matters that a person who's cutting grass must have the necessary PPE so we can protect their health and well-being. And so there's a lot of work that we have done, a city manager with organized labor, where we have given a directive as this MACO to say, if we can't even take care of the officials of the city, how will we be able to take care of those who are far from us, who we depend on the same officials to deliver them to? So that was quite important. But also there was a cry. And I know the people who are applying for jobs in the city are crying about this, where we meet officials of the city that have been long in the employ of the city, 20 years. They've never moved up. And so we then gave an instruction to the city manager without us saying, appoint Nasipi to be deputy director, and said, city manager, when we advertise, the priority must be given to the experienced employees who are saying you go and fetch people from the outside and we're supposed to train the same people. When we took stock, I think that was end of Q2, 82% of the vacancies were filled by our own officials. The morale started to change. We had tons of grievances where what was outstanding was the decision of a MECO. For instance, TMPD rankings, the upgrading of the rankings. What it took for that to happen is for MECO to apply its mind and accept that they are leaders and make a decision about fixing that with the TMPD. So I'm making these examples, ladies and gentlemen, to say, as this MECO, we accepted the responsibility in full. We don't take parts that will get us votes. We said we want to stabilize this, to rebuild, in fact, this institution that was on its knees. And these are the parts and parcels of what it takes to rebuild an institution of our size. So I just wanted to touch on that. But the campaigns, no, we are all campaigning. But we are restricted because now I can't insult these ones or insult those ones because now we must still meet in the boardroom. And it's awkward when we meet in the boardroom, like, but what are you saying about me? So we are very restricted. But I think for us, and it's a conversation that other people are having about the coalition in Tshwane, we know that 9 political parties, in a time where we started leading in this institution, it could have easily gone wrong. But these individual leaders and representing their political parties, we've been able to set aside the petty differences and every time choose this institution and the people of Tshwane. So for us, we want to present ourselves as an example out there to say, if you're looking for an effective coalition, please go to the city of Tshwane. That's the dream.
Yeah, just to add my voice on the elections,
Yes.
because it will appear like we are running away from this issue. In our first MECO in October 2024, one of the resolutions is that we are not going to contest the outcome of bargaining council. And this is what we are doing. So it demonstrates that we are not in an election mode yet. It will come, Patricia. We all parties, we agreed. One voice, there were priorities, settling ESCOM, but at the top of the hierarchy of priorities was ensuring that we don't contest or we don't embark in appeal. That's what we are doing. It was far from election. Thank you.
If you guys want one-on-ones, you know what to do. Cynthia's there, I'm here. So come to us for one-on-ones, but I think we're done now. But before we do that, I think it's appropriate that EM, DEM, and the mayoral committee members have a honorary photo and picture taken to the media, can take a picture of you guys and all the press of you.
So
elections.
Yes. No, when we fight, you use that picture of unity. They are fighting. Victory or death, the workers to the front. Not even an extra t-shirt here and an extra
Okay, but we must see it ourselves.